Well, thank you all for being here today. I'm Jerry Costello, Director of the Illinois Department of Agriculture, and welcome to the kickoff of the 2024 Illinois State Fair. I'd like to introduce some of the special guests that we have here with us today. First, Governor J.B. Pritzker and First Lady M.K. Pritzker. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. Our Treasurer, Michael Frericks. Comptroller, Susanna Mendoza. Our Attorney General, Kwame Raoul. State Senator of the Springfield area, State Senator Doris Turner. Also from the neighboring area, State Senator Steve McClure. Our Illinois County Fair Queen, Natalie Evans. And Mayor of Springfield, Mayor Misty Buscher. I would also like to acknowledge some of my fellow agency directors that are here with us. IDOT Director Omer Osman. And Omer, no offense, but one of my absolute favorite people, Director Natalie Phelps-Finney, IDNR, who shares the fairgrounds with us. And before we get things started, I'd like to now introduce our newly installed FFA leadership team, Trent Payne, Brody Will, Sydney Steers, Owen Torrance, and Emma Dingus to recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now it's my pleasure to welcome Lauren Holsfield from Clark County 4-H to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, I'm blown away. That was incredible. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our theme for this year's fair is It's Showtime. And oh my gosh, is that the way to start out? It's showtime. Over the past several years, we've been working on revitalizing the 366 acres of the Illinois State Fairgrounds. And that's thanks to an $85 million investment made by Governor Pritzker and our friends in the legislature. While some of the work continues, we are really proud to showcase the tremendous advances that have been made on these fairgrounds. From the historic Coliseum, arguably the crown jewel and heart of this fairgrounds, which has benefited from new ADA accessibility, new seating, new HVAC, allowing year-round shows to take place, a new sprinkler system, 2 new elevators, 2 new concession stands, and updated bathrooms, to newly paved roads, which you'll see all over the fairgrounds, and newly paved parking lots, parking lot 11 and parking lot 21, which I know IDNR is very happy to have. Also, many new roofs on buildings throughout the fairgrounds, and also, from a structural aspect, brick repairs that have taken place. All of these things making sure that our buildings are more structurally sound for generations to come. The Illinois State Fairgrounds was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1990. This is something that we take extremely seriously, and it's our responsibility to safeguard this state treasure. We appreciate the support of Governor Pritzker and the entire administration that has allowed us to address years of neglect throughout the grounds. These are unprecedented investments in these fairgrounds. And as you experience the grounds over the next 11 days, we hope you notice some of the signs that are around the grounds. You'll see one on each side of the main gate here. These highlight the changes that are taking place, the ones that have been made, but also the ones that are coming. $85 million plus being invested into the grounds from Rebuild Illinois, and over $8.3 million that's been invested by our buildings and grounds crew right here, about $94 million, encroaching on $100 million investment in the Illinois State Fairgrounds. And now it's my pleasure to bring to the podium somebody who has set records for the last 2 years, and no pressure, Becky. But 2 years ago, we broke the 2019 record by 126,000. Last year, we broke that record by 72,000. God willing, with great weather on a weather-dependent event, I think we're geared to break the record again. State Fair Manager Rebecca Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is showtime. Welcome to the 2024 Illinois State Fair. A full year of dreaming, planning, and hard work comes down to this. We are proud to be an economic engine for our state and local economy, and one of the last getaways for families before the start of a new school year. As you pass through this iconic main gate, we hope you take note of some of the new features that we have planned for this year's fair. From the 800-seat Big Top Circus in Happy Hollow to the Ninja Warrior obstacle course just outside the Coliseum, or the brand new Fairy Tales on Ice performance in the air-conditioned Orr Building, the Illinois State Fair is your home to family-friendly entertainment. This year, dreams will come true at the Illinois State Fair. For our youth exhibitors, they are competing in the state's biggest show ring, and many of them will go home grand champions. And for 200 individuals from diverse corners of the globe, dreams of becoming a United States citizen will become reality as the Illinois State Fair hosts its first naturalization ceremony. And let's not forget about that spectacular music lineup that we have planned at the Illinois State Fair. From award winners to rock and roll legends and up-and-coming new artists, the Illinois State Fair has something for everyone. So come on in explore our 366-acre fairground because it's showtime.
Thank you, Becky, and honestly, a huge round of applause for Becky and the team of 8 that puts on this state fair. Our next speaker is a remarkable young woman, and she's represented the Department of Agriculture all around the state at county fairs. She's absolutely incredible, shows livestock herself. Please join me in welcoming Illinois County Fair Queen from Morgan County, Natalie Evans.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Director Costello. And like he said, my name is Natalie Evans, and I'm incredibly proud to be your 2024 Miss Illinois County Fair Queen. Like he said, I do raise and show Red Angus cattle, and I even have them in the barns here with me this year. And I'm so excited to continue that tradition. For many, many years, the Illinois State Fair has provided my family and the village it takes for me to get here with fun, entertainment, and most importantly, memories. The Illinois State Fair not only showcases all of Illinois agriculture, but it provides a sense of unification for everyone across the state. I encourage everyone to come out throughout the next 11 days because, like Rebecca said, it is showtime. If you see me, please come up and say hi, take a picture with me. I would love to meet you, and I hope to see everyone here because we have so many exciting things coming, and thank you all so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Natalie, thank you, and thank you for the term unification. That is so important in these days. Next, it's my pleasure to bring to the podium somebody who's a great friend of Springfield, but honestly a great friend to these fairgrounds, Springfield Mayor Misty Buscher.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the State Fair and welcome to the north end of Springfield. The Senator and I are proud North Enders. Yes, ma'am. I would like to first thank a few people, and I would like to thank Rebecca Clark and Jerry Costello because they are such a pleasure to work with. I have to thank our good governor for putting them in the positions they're in. So thank you. And most of all, we need to give a big round of applause to the governor and the First Lady because they love Springfield and our fairgrounds. I cannot explain to you how many conversations I have had as the mayor of this great city with the governor and the First Lady about their love of the community and what they can do. This investment to your fairgrounds, Springfieldians, is because of Governor Pritzker, so we all need to remember that. I want you to come out and enjoy the great weather we're going to have at this fair. It is showtime, and the shows you don't have to pay to see. There's so many free shows. I want to give a little plug to the State Fair app. If you don't have it, get it on your phone. I live by that app when I'm out here. You may not see me as much this year as I would like. I do have a family member at home that I'm helping take care of. But download the app. You'll find all the free shows and all of the free exhibits you can go see. And have a great time at the Illinois State Fair.
Thank you, Mayor, and again, we appreciate your partnership. Next is somebody that I get the privilege of introducing often, and it's such an easy introduction because honestly, she is an absolute champion for Illinois agriculture. Her motto and the phrase she uses all of the time is "Ag connects us all." And to be honest with you, it's somewhat become a rallying cry for agriculture in the state of Illinois. She's a repeat customer of farmers markets across the entire state. And she's on a quest, a food quest. She's a strong advocate to make sure that every person in this state gets the same fresh, nutrient-dense food in their hands. Families from end to end across this state, she's working to end food insecurity. Please help me welcome agriculture, one of their biggest supporters, and to say the least, a huge fan of apple cider slushies, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. I am Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the 2024 Illinois State Fair. In the interest of time, I'll simply say that it's so great to be here alongside Governor Pritzker, First Lady M.K. Pritzker, our fellow constitutional officers, our legislative partners, Mayor Busher, and so many champions for agriculture in our state. Every day, I'm grateful for Illinois' vibrant agriculture industry. So thank you, Director Costello, for you and your team at the Illinois Department of Agriculture for all you do to ensure everyone benefits from the bounty of our shared land. To the groundskeepers who work tirelessly to prepare this space for our arrival and will diligently look after it every single day, thank you for your essential work. And of course, to Illinois State Fair Manager Rebecca Clark, Miss Illinois County Fair Queen Natalie Evans, our FFA, 4-H, and Manners participants, and all of you, thank you for joining us and making this a state fair to remember. These fairgrounds are home to a time-honored tradition where we can come together to learn about our state, eat great food, and create lasting memories. And yes, Director Costello, if you know me, many of my memories will be formed around apple cider slushies. By now, you have probably heard me say that ag connects us all, and I say it as a constant reminder of how much we share as a community. Through this initiative and my work as the chair of the Governor's Rural Affairs Council, I've traveled across the state learning from people who keep our food and ag systems in the lead on the global stage. There's no shortage of talent in our state, from farmers to educators to specialty growers to agri-tech innovators to our future industry leaders. It's such an honor to celebrate the collaboration that nourishes Illinois and indeed the world. So with this ribbon cutting this morning, it's showtime and time to harvest the fun. Thank you, everyone. And now it is my pleasure to bring up the great leader of our state who has invested so much to uplift our agriculture industry, but also invested so much in these fairgrounds, and you will see that today. Our great governor, Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Stratton for that very kind introduction. Honestly, she is the best partner you could have in governing this state, and I'm so proud to stand alongside her today and every day. I want to begin by just telling you how happy I am once again to be here at the kickoff of the State Fair, our 171st annual Illinois State Fair. This fair truly is one of my favorite events. Every summer we get to celebrate our state, our people, the great food here in Springfield at the fairgrounds, our booming agriculture industry, which continues to serve as the backbone of our Illinois' success. I want to thank our Department of Agriculture Director, Jerry Costello, and his team, especially Fair Manager Becky Clark. There are so many people that are standing behind me. I won't reintroduce everybody, but they and the people who work for them are what make this fair go every single year, and it's gotten better and better and better, and people all around the region and all around the United States are hearing about Illinois State Fair, and that's why we've been breaking records. So let's give them all a big round of applause. So I love every year to put more and more pressure on Becky Clark. So I'm going to do it again. It's not, like I said, it's not just her, but whenever I say this, she cringes a little bit, like, am I going to be able to break the record again? But I want to remind you that last year we saw record-breaking attendance. More than 700,000 visitors visited the fair over 11 days. $7.6 million in revenue. That, too, is a record. I know that this year will be a tremendous success once again. In many ways, it already is. With this year's theme, it's Showtime. We're highlighting the events, the entertainment, the fun that captures the spirit of our great fair. We're going to see amazing musical acts like the Jonas Brothers, like Lil Wayne, like Keith Urban, and so many more. We'll watch ice skaters and monster truck drivers and racehorses and marching bands. And our fairgrounds are ready for all of it and so much more. Thanks to the Rebuild Illinois Infrastructure Plan, which you've heard about already this morning, really so many upgrades have been made. There's still more to come. So you got to keep coming back to the fair to see all of those great upgrades, but you'll feel them and see them today as you walk around. Today and throughout our state fair, we honor our agriculture industry and express our shared hopes and dreams for our future, not just in agriculture, but as a state. Since our state's founding 204 years ago, we've been an agricultural powerhouse. We boast 26 million acres of farmland with roughly 71,000 farms. We're home to the top 6 counties in the country for corn production, with McLean County leading at more than 70 million bushels of corn produced. We also lead the nation with the top 10 counties for soybean yield nationally. A special shout out, of course, to Tazewell County, which is number 1 with about 74 bushels per acre. Yeah. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to once again showcase our farmers' extraordinary contributions to our state, to our nation, and to the world. Over the next 11 days, as hundreds of thousands of people from across the state and across the country, even a few from around the world, they'll come here and they'll see our fair and all of what it has to offer. So I want to give them a warm welcome to the middle of everything. I hope to see many of you throughout the fair as we celebrate our booming agriculture industry. Visit our best in the nation butter cow in the dairy building. Make sure you get a cone while you're there. Watch as our youth from Illinois 4-H serve as our Twilight Parade's Grand Marshal, and try all of our phenomenal fair treats. Thank you all. Let's make this fair the best it's ever been and make it a part of your summer every single year. And now, without further ado, let's cut the ribbon and open the gates on the 2024 Illinois State Fair.
Count to 3 looking forward. Make sure you put your hand on. There you go. Perfect. You ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Brendan.
One issue that's of big importance to agriculture, farm families, is the estate tax. There was a proposal this year in the legislature to increase the threshold to shield farm families. I think that costs finish line. Do you support that proposal? And would you support it in veto session or spring session next year?
We're still looking at it, but we should do everything we can to support our farm families. I mean, they are the backbone of our economy. They're the backbone of Illinois. So anything that we can do to lower costs for people, including making sure that they can build wealth for generations to come, that's something important, I think, for all people across the state, especially our farmers.
Governor, in light of the Sonia massive shooting, obviously this question has been asked with various lawmakers about, whether there could be changes, needed in state law to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. Is there anything you have in mind, anything kind of behind the scenes that's being discussed about that you're aware of, or anything that you would like to see, if anything?
Look, I want to start out in answer to your question by just pointing out that this is a tragedy that never should have happened. In this state, around this country, we've seen too many circumstances, like what happened to George Floyd, like what happened to Breonna Taylor, like what happened to Sonia Massey. And for the first time, we see now with the advent of body cams that, we can hold people accountable. That hasn't happened before. I mean, in decades past, things like this would have happened in the dark. No one would have known. And the Illinois State Police did a tremendous job in investigating this matter. The body cams, which we now require under state law, an important development over the last couple of years working with the legislature to make that happen, that we can now do the things that we should be doing to hold people accountable. Meanwhile, there's so much more to do. And I met with the Massey family, so did the Lieutenant Governor. We listened to what they had to say about what ought to happen. I've certainly heard what some legislators think, and there are ideas that are floating around. I don't think there's a bill that anybody's put together. It's hard to tell exactly what could be done, especially when there isn't transparency in the sheriff's department about how this person was hired after the sheriff's deputy resigned over and over again, couldn't hold a job at a department, a law enforcement department. And then I just want to add at the end, let's all acknowledge that the vast majority of our law enforcement officers do the right thing. And we ought to praise them for that. And then when someone doesn't do the right thing, we need to hold them accountable. And that is what is happening right now with Sonia Massey's killing. So I want to praise the state's attorney. I want to praise the ISP and everybody who's been involved, even in the peaceful protests, who have tried to call attention to this matter to make sure that people here in the state of Illinois, all across the state, as well as around the country, pay attention to this so that it doesn't happen again here or anywhere.
Governor, question from Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 in Chicago.
Do you get paid to carry questions for people from? I'm just kidding, man. I know you are. You're always polite.
Governor, Sarah would like to know, Illinois seems to be becoming, as well as Michigan and Wisconsin, more battleground type states than perhaps we thought of. Can you tell us how that is and how you consider it?
Illinois as a battleground state? I mean, that's news. I think that's fake news, I might say. Having said that, we're always battling to make sure that Democrats win in Illinois, and I expect that will happen, but it doesn't happen unless people do the work of knocking on doors and talking to voters out there. So having said that, we do have battlegrounds all across the Midwest. It's one of the reasons that I'm so pleased that Tim Walz is on the Democratic ticket, because he really represents the values of people all across our center of the country. He is somebody who, he's a gun owner. He's somebody who understands the plight of folks who are living in rural areas and has worked to uplift them and their families. And so I think that's something, when we think about battleground, we ought to be always focused on how do we make life better in rural areas in our state as well as all across the country, because there are too many people living in poverty, too many people who suffer from the challenges that can exist when you're not near a large city and maybe don't get the resources that you ought to get. Here in Illinois, though, we have focused resources on rural areas of the state. Over the last 6 years, both our Rebuild Illinois Capital Program as well as our budget has created opportunities for people to get ahead. And I just want to make sure that people in the state know that that's been happening and that we have much more to do. Yes.
Were several 911 calls leading up to the day that she was shot that involved mental health issues.
Yes.
We can't have mental health professionals in every squad car, but do you have any thoughts about combining force and having more involvement with mental health?
100%, and you know that we authorized that, the General Assembly authorized that for areas around the state. I want to add that we now have 988 in addition to 911, which is something you can call if you feel like there is a mental health challenge that may not require police, but may require mental health help. And that's something that we've been building up over the last several years and operating across the state of Illinois. Yeah.
Departments across both the state and the country have had recruiting troubles, obviously, short on numbers. Do you think that's part of the reason, or could that be part of the issue why people like Sean Grayson end up being hired because the departments need bodies?
We don't know all the circumstances about why Sean Grayson was hired. And this is one of the most frustrating things about the situation now. The sheriff could have made this more transparent, has refused to do so. Why was Sean Grayson hired? Nobody can answer that question except the sheriff and his HR folks. We ought to see them talk to us about it. Meanwhile, the shortage of labor is not limited to police. It's in fact in every industry we've seen it. It's getting better, and in fact we've had more and more people working in the state of Illinois. The recovery has been terrific from the nadir of the COVID-19 pandemic recession. And so we've seen more and more people applying. There are more applications and more opportunities to be hired. But only people who meet the qualifications should be hired, and they should be screened. References should be made. That's how it should be done.
Governor, to go off of that, you said that there wasn't a lot of transparency into how he was hired. We've learned a lot about that.
Yeah, you have.
We've learned his troubles at Logan County. And when we talk to Sheriff Campbell about it, he says that through that process, he relied on good faith phone calls, good faith conversations, and the references, which also included some of the background conversation of this. But I just wonder, with that, is it time for the state to step in and require full files to be passed between law enforcement departments?
Remember that it's near impossible when you say someone resigned from a position, right? It's near impossible to make a judgment unless there's more of a report that's been, as you say, has been passed from one department to another. But there's a lot of protecting people. What happens is they do something wrong in a department, and the department head, the HR department, decides, well, they don't want to affect this person's career going forward. So instead of holding them accountable at that department and having a record of that, they'll just quietly recommend that they resign. And that is how you see somebody moving from position to position. Now, should they do more? Absolutely. Those local departments should be held accountable if there was wrongdoing at the department that went unreported, and instead the person was suggested to simply resign. But again, these are questions that a sheriff who's hiring somebody ought to be asking. I don't know whether he asked those questions. It seems to me he could not have. If he had, he would have learned a lot. Someone who moves from job to job, 1 year, half a year, and does it 6 times over the course of a few years, and whose record coming out of the military is questionable. I think those are all things that ought to be taken into account. And I want to know, and all of us, I think, want to know why the sheriff didn't take those things into account or dive deeper into those questions. It seems like there were cursory conversations because a resignation, well, that seems benign.
You talked a lot about your friendship with Governor Walz recently. I'm curious, have you talked about who has the better state fair? As I also have the adopted state of Minnesota, and I have been to their fair. Who has the better fair?
Well, first of all, we have the better state. Greatest state in the country right here in Illinois. And I have to say that we've been working hard to make our state fair the best state fair in the country, and I want to make sure that we have the highest attendance of any state fair in the country. So I haven't looked at the numbers for Minnesota. All I can tell you is don't miss this state fair. Wait. Yeah, we're done with questions, but yeah, I want to invite Brendan Moore up to the podium. You got to take the limelight. Come on. No. This is a peace offering. Sorry, this is a peace offering to those who like ketchup on their corn dogs. As wrong as you may be, but as Brendan Moore often says, this is about freedom of choice. So you may make your own choice. All right. Yes. Where we have choice, yeah. So you can even be wrong and have ketchup on your... Thank you guys very much.